Indian Polity by M. LAXMIKANT. Chapter 41. Scheduled and Tribal Areas. Article 244 in Part 10 of the Constitution envisages a special system of administration for certain areas designated as scheduled areas and tribal areas. The fifth schedule of the Constitution deals with the administration and control of scheduled areas and scheduled tribes in any state except the four states of Assam, Meghalaya, Tripura and Mizoram. The sixth schedule of the Constitution, on the other hand, deals with the administration of the tribal areas in the four northeastern states of Assam, Meghalaya, Tripura and Mizoram. Administration of scheduled areas. The scheduled areas are treated differently from the other areas in the country because they are inhabited by aboriginals who are socially and economically rather backward, and special efforts need to be made to improve their condition. Therefore, the whole of the normal administrative machinery operating in a state is not extended to the scheduled areas, and the central government has somewhat greater responsibility for these areas. The various features of administration contained in the fifth schedule are as follows. 1. Declaration of scheduled areas. The President is empowered to declare an area to be a scheduled area. He can also increase or decrease its area, alter its boundary lines, rescind such designation or make fresh orders for such redesignation on an area in consultation with the governor of the state concerned. 2. Executive power of state and centre. The executive power of a state extends to the scheduled areas therein. But the governor has a special responsibility regarding such areas. He has to submit a report to the President regarding the administration of such areas, annually or whenever so required by the President. The executive power of the centre extends to giving directions to the states regarding the administration of such areas. 3. Tribes Advisory Council. Each state having scheduled areas has to establish a Tribes Advisory Council to advise on welfare and advancement of the scheduled tribes. It is to consist of 20 members, 3/4 of whom are to be the representatives of the scheduled tribes in the State Legislative Assembly. A similar council can also be established in a state having scheduled tribes but not scheduled areas therein, if the President so directs. 4. Law applicable to scheduled areas. The governor is empowered to direct that any particular act of parliament or the state legislature does not apply to a scheduled area or apply with specified modifications and exceptions. He can also make regulations for the peace and good government of a scheduled area after consulting the Tribes Advisory Council. Such regulations may prohibit or restrict the transfer of land by or among members of the scheduled tribes, regulate the allotment of land to members of the scheduled tribes, and regulate the business of moneylending in relation to the scheduled tribes. Also, a regulation may repeal or amend any act of parliament or the state legislature, which is applicable to a scheduled area. But, all such regulations require the assent of the President. The Constitution requires the President to appoint a commission to report on the administration of the scheduled areas and the welfare of the scheduled tribes in the states. He can appoint such a commission at any time, but compulsorily after 10 years of the commencement of the Constitution. Hence, a commission was appointed in 1960. It was headed by UN Dhebar and submitted its report in 1961. After 4 decades, the second commission was appointed in 2002 under the chairmanship of Dileep Singh Bhuria. It submitted its report in 2004. Administration of Tribal Areas. The Constitution, under 6th Schedule, contains special provisions for the administration of tribal areas in the 4 northeastern states of Assam, Meghalaya, Tripura and Mizoram. The rationality behind the special arrangements in respect of only these 4 states lies in the following. The tribes in Assam, Meghalaya, Tripura and Mizoram have not assimilated much the life and ways of the other people in these states. These areas have hitherto been anthropological specimens. The tribal people in other parts of India have more or less adopted the culture of the majority of the people in whose midst they live. The tribes in Assam, Meghalaya, Tripura and Mizoram, on the other hand, still have their roots in their own culture, customs and civilization. These areas are, therefore, treated differently by the constitution, and sizable amount of autonomy has been given to these people for self-government. The various features of administration contained in the sixth schedule are as follows. 1. The tribal areas in the four states of Assam, Meghalaya, Tripura and Mizoram have been constituted as autonomous districts. But they do not fall outside the executive authority of the state concerned. 2. The governor is empowered to organize and reorganize the autonomous districts. Thus, he can increase or decrease their areas or change their names or define their boundaries and so on. 3. If there are different tribes in an autonomous district, the governor can divide the district into several autonomous regions. 4. Each autonomous district has a district council consisting of 30 members, of whom 4 are nominated by the governor, and the remaining 26 are elected on the basis of adult franchise. The elected members hold office for a term of 5 years, unless the council is dissolved earlier, and nominated members hold office during the pleasure of the governor. Each autonomous region also has a separate regional council. 5. The district and regional councils administer the areas under their jurisdiction. They can make laws on certain specified matters like land, forests, canal water, shifting cultivation, village administration, inheritance of property, marriage and divorce, social customs, and so on. But all such laws require the assent of the governor. 6. The district and regional councils within their territorial jurisdictions can constitute village councils or courts for trial of suits and cases between the tribes. They hear appeals from them. The jurisdiction of High Court over these suits and cases is specified by the governor. 7. The district council can establish, construct or manage primary schools, dispensaries, markets, ferries, fisheries, roads and so on in the district. It can also make regulations for the control of money lending and trading by non-tribals. But such regulations require the assent of the governor. 8. The district and regional councils are empowered to assess and collect land revenue and to impose certain specified taxes. 9. The Acts of Parliament or the state legislature do not apply to autonomous districts and autonomous regions or apply with specified modifications and exceptions. 10. The governor can appoint a commission to examine and report on any matter relating to the administration of the autonomous districts or regions. He may dissolve a district or regional council on the recommendation of the commission. Table 41.1 Tribal Areas at a Glance, 2019. States. Tribal Areas. 1. Assam. 1. The North Kachar Hills District. 2. The Karbi Angalong District. 3. The Borderland Territorial Areas District. 2. Meghalaya. 1. Khasi Hills District. 2. Jantia Hills District. 3. The Garo Hills District. 3. Tripura. Tripura Tribal Areas District. 4. Mizoram. 1. The Chakma District. 2. The Mara District. 3. The Leh District. Table 41.2 Articles related to scheduled and tribal areas at a glance. Article number. Subject matter. 244. Administration of scheduled areas and tribal areas. 244A. Formation of an autonomous state comprising certain tribal areas in Assam and creation of local legislature or council of ministers or both therefore. 339. Control of the Union over the administration of scheduled areas and the welfare of scheduled tribes. Table 41.3 Parliamentary laws related to the 5th and 6th schedules of the Constitution. Serial number. Acts. Provisions. 1. Lushai Hills District, Change of Name, Act, 1954. Renamed the Lushai Hills District as the Mizo District. The Lushai Hills District was one of the 6 autonomous districts in the tribal areas of Assam specified in the 6th schedule of the Constitution. 2. Government of Union Territories, Amendment, Act, 1971. Amended the 6th schedule of the Constitution to include certain provisions with respect to the autonomous districts and autonomous regions of the Union Territory of Mizoram. 3. Repealing and Amending Act, 1974. Repealed certain enactments and amended certain other enactments. It also substituted the words cattle pounds for cattle ponds in the 6th schedule of the Constitution. 4. 5th Schedule to the Constitution, Amendment, Act, 1976. Empowered the President of India, to increase the area of any scheduled area in a state after consultation with the governor of that state, and 2. To rescind any order made for the designation of an area in any state to be a scheduled area, or in consultation with the governor of the state concerned, make fresh order redefining the area which is to be a scheduled area. 5. 6th Schedule to the Constitution, Amendment, Act, 1988. Included certain modifications in the 6th schedule of the Constitution in its application to the states of Tripura and Mizoram. These, provided that the governors shall act in their discretion in the discharge of some of their functions. 2. Made provisions relating to the application of Acts of Parliament and the state legislatures to autonomous districts and autonomous regions. And 3. Provided for a time limit in making over the share of royalties to the district councils. 6. 6th Schedule to the Constitution, Amendment, Act, 1995. Included certain modifications in the 6th schedule of the Constitution in its application to the state of Assam. These, provided that the district council constituted for the North Kachar Hills district shall be called as the North Kachar Hills Autonomous Council, and the district council constituted for the Karbi Anglong district shall be called as the Karbi Anglong Autonomous Council. 2. Made provisions for the additional powers of the North Kachar Hills Autonomous Council and the Karbi Anglong Autonomous Council to make laws. And 3. Made it mandatory for the governor to consult the North Kachar Hills Autonomous Council or the Karbi Anglong Autonomous Council, as the case may be, in the exercise of his discretionary powers. 7. 6th Schedule to the Constitution, Amendment, Act, 2003. Included certain modifications in the 6th Schedule of the Constitution in its application to the state of Assam. This was done to meet the aspirations of the Bodos in Assam and in pursuance of the Memorandum of Settlement signed between the central government, the Government of Assam and Bodo Liberation Tigers, BLT, on 10-02-2003 for a durable solution to the Bodo issues. In this context, the Act made the following provisions. Specified the Bodoland Territorial Areas District in the list of the tribal areas of the state of Assam. 2. Created an autonomous self-governing body known as the Bodoland Territorial Council, BTC, within the state of Assam. 3. Vested the council with legislative, administrative and financial powers in respect of specified subjects. And 4. Provided for adequate safeguards for the non-Tiavan Bialis in the BTC area.